Stop confusing independence with desirability. You can win every battle and still lose the heart. I watched her sit there with perfect hair, perfect posture, perfect confidence, the kind that makes everyone around her shrink a little. She wasn't loud. She wasn't arrogant. She was simply on, the way some people are when they feel they have something to prove. And the moment she opened her mouth, I understood why so many men pull back without explaining. She listed goals like she was reading a victory report. Promotions, investments, projects. Every sentence was a statement of dominance. Every achievement was delivered like a challenge to the universe. Her friend kept nodding, cheering her on, insisting she was unstoppable. But underneath the applause there was a softer question. If you're doing so well, why does every relationship feel like a dead end? She brushed it off with a laugh. Said men were intimidated. Said modern dating was broken. Said she didn't need anyone anyway. But the way her voice dipped on that last line told the truth she didn't want to admit. She wasn't tired of men. She was tired of feeling alone even when someone was sitting right across from her. The problem wasn't her success. It was the posture she carried with it. A posture that said, I don't need you. I don't rely on you. I don't have space for you. Most men don't walk away because they're threatened. They walk away because they can't find a role to play. You could see it in the way she spoke. Every story was a competition. Every experience was framed as proof she could outdo, outperform, outrun. Not because she was malicious. Because she was scared of being seen as weak. Because somewhere along the way she learned that softness equals risk and independence equals safety. But here's what no one tells her. Connection isn't built in the arenas where she wins. Connection is built in the spaces where she lets someone in. Men don't fall for perfection. They fall for presence. They fall for the feeling of being welcomed, not tolerated. They fall for the quiet moments where they don't have to fight to matter. I watched her smile fade as she sipped her coffee, staring at nothing. For a second her armor slipped. You could see the weight she carried. The exhaustion. The silent question running in circles inside her. Why doesn't the life I built feel like home? That's the tragedy no one warns her about. You can build a fortress so strong that no one can hurt you, and also so strong that no one can reach you. And in that moment, sitting in a crowded cafe, surrounded by noise yet isolated by her own defenses, she looked like someone who had mastered everything except the one thing she wanted most: connection. Different problems need different tools. Evolution didn't make one sex better. It made complementary tool sets. Men tended toward focused action, sequential problem solving, and single-task intensity. Women tended toward social acuity, multitasking, and sensing emotional context. Those differences are practical, not moral. Picture a team. Someone drafts the plan, someone keeps the household systems running. If both people only design, routine fails. If both only maintain, nothing new gets built. Efficiency comes from matching tasks to aptitude. That's how complex projects survive. In everyday life that looks simple. One partner tracks deadlines, optimizes workflows, and solves broken systems fast. The other remembers histories, untangles feelings, and smooths relationships without grand speeches. One excels at strategy. The other excels at cohesion. Both contributions matter. The trouble starts when equality gets defined as sameness. Rights, opportunity, and fairness have nothing to gain from forcing identical behavior. Expecting everyone to adopt the same toolkit creates wasted energy. People burn out performing roles that feel alien. Resentment follows when the performance becomes identity. Specialization is not submission. It's strategy. Fielded teams use different strengths intentionally. Sports teams assign positions. Surgical teams divide roles. The highest performing units coordinate diverse talents instead of asking everyone to do the same thing. Why treat intimate partnerships differently? Communication style shows the risk. Some people assert conclusions. Others solicit input. In a boardroom, the declarative voice gets heard. At dinner, the inclusive voice keeps connection alive. Problems appear when context is ignored and a single style is enforced everywhere. This isn't a blueprint to confine anyone. It's an argument for clarity. Choose what to cultivate and what to delegate. Learn skills outside your comfort zone when they're necessary. Keep what energizes you. Trade tasks where each person gains leverage. That's deliberate living, not cowardice. Identity matters. People derive meaning from roles that align with strengths. Forcing constant role reversal replaces fulfillment with performance. Performance is fragile. Authentic competence grows where inclination and investment meet. That's where contribution feels natural. Practical advice. Stop treating strengths as competition. Map out who enjoys what. Assign household systems, emotional labor, financial tasks accordingly. Revisit assignments as life changes. Use differences to build a complementary architecture rather than a battleground. When two people coordinate via complementary skills, they amplify results. A planner and a nurturer together produce stability and growth. That combination creates a life neither could craft alone. It's not a retreat into stereotype. It's a strategy that uses real differences to generate mutual success. Understanding specialization lets you stop fighting your wiring and start applying it. It's pragmatic, efficient, and quietly powerful. Use your strengths. Honor theirs. Build something together. The emotional payoff is huge. Less friction, more trust, deeper attraction. Polarity returns because difference creates desire. When roles are negotiated rather than imposed, safety grows. People feel seen. People feel useful. That feeling fuels connection and long-term commitment. Choose partnership over pointless parity. Competition looks good on a resume and disastrous at the kitchen table. When every exchange becomes a duel, closeness dies. You don't build intimacy by proving you're superior, you build it by letting someone matter. Scoring conversations makes vulnerability impossible. If a confession is met with a counter-win, people stop asking for help. They bury pain because asking becomes another contest to lose. Two capable people can end up living parallel lives, polite and distant. One-upmanship turns stories into trophies and listening into calculation. Instead of leaning into someone's honesty, you angle for the rebuttal. Empathy gets replaced by point-making. That pattern wears away trust faster than any single fight. Refusing small offers of help is not strength. It's armor that isolates. When accepting help signals need becomes shame. So needs are hidden until they explode into cold resentment and silent withdrawal. The relationship then becomes a series of explosions that nobody knows how to prevent. Partnership needs asymmetry sometimes. One person leads, the other supports. One carries the load, the other tends the relationships. If both insist on leading every moment, coordination collapses. Households, plans, and emotional life require handoffs. Competing for the helm constantly will wreck the ship. Polarity suffers under perpetual competition. Desire thrives on difference and surrender. If you insist you don't need anyone, you remove the possibility of being treasured. Attraction isn't a trophy for competence alone. It's the feeling someone gets when they can contribute and be welcomed. Children internalize this script. They see parents measure worth by wins and copy the armor. That teaches the next generation that love is a scoreboard. Leadership and belonging are not opposites. They are different currencies. One commands the room. The other builds the home. You can master both, but trying to force one uniform posture at all times ruins both your influence and your intimacy. Leadership asks for clarity, decisive language, and visible direction. It thrives on structure and measurable outcomes. Belonging asks for presence, listening, and small rituals that say, "I see you." If you lead like you belong, decisions stall. If you belong like you lead, tenderness dies. Context determines which posture fits. At work, clear authority speeds projects and prevents waste. At night, clear authority can feel like domination. The smartest leaders learn to switch without losing identity. They hold the map in the day and lay the blanket at night. Many confuse being strong with being always in charge. That's not strength, it's inflexibility. Real strength includes the capacity to yield without losing yourself. Yielding is not disappearing. It is choosing to allocate control strategically so the relationship can breathe. Observe high-functioning pairs. One makes bold calls when stakes are high. The other manages the social glue that allows those calls to land. Neither role is lesser. Both are hard and rare. Both require skill and courage. Showing you can lead gives others confidence someone will steer when storms hit. Showing you can belong gives confidence that someone will remain when storms pass. A life that lacks steering or shelter is unstable. You need both competencies to build a durable partnership. Practical shift. Define spheres of authority. Decide who handles what before stress makes decisions messy. Make it explicit who negotiates budgets, who organizes routines, who handles calendars. Clarity prevents tug-of-wars and preserves energy. Practice the soft handoff. Announce a decision and then create space for repair and connection. Lead with conviction. Follow with curiosity. That pattern keeps effectiveness high and resentment low. Balance also means protecting polarity. People are drawn to contrast. If both partners are always on full leadership mode, the energetic charge goes flat. If both retreat into belonging mode, life feels directionless. Sacred tension fuels attraction and purpose. Reject the caricature that belonging is weakness. Being available emotionally, forgiving small failures, and creating rituals of care is powerful. It lubricates ambition and amplifies connection. Leaders who are met with tenderness lead longer and lead better. This is not a manual for gender roles. It's a blueprint for cooperation. Anyone can be decisive and tender. The goal is not symmetry, it's complementarity with agreed boundaries. Choose to develop both muscles. Train yourself to command when the map is unclear and to soften when someone needs presence. That dual capacity sustains careers, marriages, and friendships. Build with intention, not ego, and the partnership becomes truly unbreakable. Sex and status operate on different ledgers, and confusing one for the other ruins long-term value. Casual conquests can burnish reputation in a short game, but they hollow out the market where lasting relationships form. Treat sexuality as a scoreboard and you win applause but lose depth. The marketplace of mating rewards different signals for short-term and long-term trades. Flashy availability raises attention now. Dependability, warmth, and pattern of care accrue value over seasons. One is momentum, the other is capital. Spend all your currency on momentary thrills and you'll be bankrupt for life choices. Attraction is a trade, not a moral judgment. Men and women often exchange different currencies. Some currencies rise with age and resources. Some depreciate. Understanding which currency buys what outcome is practical sense, not condemnation. It's prudent accounting for your future. Bragging about conquest sells a story of freedom, yet it communicates unpredictability to those who seek safety. Long-term partners pay for predictability. They want someone whose behavior signals investment, not inventory. A reputation for casualness repels investment-minded partners even if it attracts abundance in the short run. There's a paradox. The behaviors celebrated in one arena subtract value in another. Being prized for sexual liberty can paradoxically make you less desirable as a committed mate. The payoff structure is asymmetric. Winners in one game can be losers in another. This is not to shame choices. It's to note consequences. If your plan includes a durable partnership later, optimize for signals that attract that outcome. If your plan is episodic connection, accept the rewards and the trade-offs alike. Clarity lets you manage regret. Social norms amplify this effect. Double standards exist because ancestral markets favored different strategies for reproductive success. Modern morality debates the fairness. Markets respond to perceived scarcity and risk. People still make choices based on expected returns, not philosophers' ideals. Practical consequences appear in dating dynamics. Someone labeled as highly sexual may find doors open for casual encounters but closed for introductions to family or long-term plans. Conversely, someone consistent, private, and reliably affectionate may be passed over for immediate excitement but chosen for marriage. Both profiles have power, in different registers. Reframing sexual behavior as strategic communication solves a lot. Ask, what do my actions say about my future availability? What signals do I want to emit? If you want commitment, demonstrate restraint, reciprocity, and pattern. If you want variety, be honest and accept the social outcomes. Emotional labor matters too. People who invest in others' emotional lives create trust. Trust converts into social capital that outlasts flash. It's the compounding interest of relationships, small deposits that accumulate into durable partnership. In short, match your mating strategy to your life plan. Don't let short-term applause dictate long-term assets. Signal what you want, own the consequences, and design your choices like an investor, a headline seeker. Outcomes follow clarity. Choices have cost. Every path you take closes another. That's the basic trade-off people avoid admitting when they chase optimization like a lifestyle. You can pursue career heights and financial freedom, but those achievements consume time, energy, and reproductive years. You can prioritize relationships and early family life, but that often means slower professional ascent. Both choices are valid. Both carry consequences. Think in terms of investments. Time is the currency. Skills compound. Fertility declines. Reputation accumulates. Pick where you spend your attention because attention is limited. When you scatter it trying to win every measure, nothing deepens. If you concentrate it on a few priorities, those areas grow exponentially. There are real anchors to this truth. Biological timelines impose windows that careers can't easily pause. Cultural markets reward early risk-taking differently than steady accumulation. Social networks expand around persistent identity, not fleeting signals. Put bluntly, the calendar and the marketplace have rules. Ignoring them creates friction. Regret often doesn't show up as drama. It shows up as quiet surprise 20 years later. People wake up with the life they built and ask why it feels incomplete. The answer is usually a mismatch between early signals and later desires. Planning without foresight is the simplest recipe for that mismatch. The strategy isn't to scare anyone into a particular choice. It's to force clarity. Decide what you want before habits cement. When you accept trade-offs consciously, you lose less to surprise. When you treat life like a portfolio, you rebalance proactively rather than panic sell at 38. Practical steps. Inventory what matters. Map the next 10 years. What investments pay interpersonal returns? What investments pay financial returns? Identify non-negotiables and flexible goals. Make small, repeatable choices that align with priorities. Tiny daily acts create months that compound into years. Social signaling matters. If you broadcast a single story, relentless career focus, sexual liberation, or family-first devotion, the market responds. You will attract people whose desires match that broadcast. That outcome is not accidental. It's a function of information and preference. Adaptability is valuable. Plans should be modular. Build optionality into your life. Education, transferable skills, emotional networks. Optionality reduces the cost of pivots. It doesn't eliminate trade-offs, but it softens them. Don't confuse optimization with perfection. Perfection is a fantasy that traps you in analysis. Optimization is deliberate compromise. It's choosing the best set of trade-offs for the life you actually want, not the life you think you should brag about. Finally, own your choices. When you pick a path and accept its sacrifices, you free yourself from bitterness. Responsibility transforms loss into meaning. You stop blaming the market and start steering the ship. That's how adulthood looks. That's how fulfillment is built. Measure progress by what you keep, not what you accumulate. Stay honest, pivot early, and protect the things that matter most to you every single day consistently. Attraction thrives on contrast. When two people bring distinct energies, something electric appears between them. Similarity breeds comfort. Difference produces charge. That tension is the raw material of desire. It doesn't require domination or submission, only complementary motion. Think of relationship dynamics as a dance. Partners trade lead and follow. Sometimes one holds tempo, sometimes the other. The best couples develop a shared rhythm that feels natural and effortless. They don't compete for the spotlight, they celebrate the choreography. Preserving sexual chemistry is practical, not mystical. Maintain boundaries that create mystery. Keep some parts of your life private and your passions alive. Novelty fuels interest, routine dulls it. Small surprises and distinct personal interests feed tension in healthy ways. Respect shapes polarity. If each person honors the other's domain, attraction deepens. That means valuing skill sets you don't possess. It also means avoiding constant correction. Let competence stand without contest. Admiration is a lubricant for connection. Contempt destroys it. Rituals are tiny infrastructure for desire. Weekly nights that belong to the couple, simple tokens of appreciation, and consistent small courtesies all build a bank of goodwill. These deposits pay out in reduced friction and more spontaneous affection. Rituals are cheap insurance against drift. Emotional containment matters. Being dependable during stress signals safety. When one partner can hold internal storms without transferring them destructively, the other relaxes. Calm attracts. Panic repels. Strength that stabilizes is magnetic. Sexy tension isn't cruelty, it's boundary-respecting magnetism. You can be warm and still maintain standards. You can be loving and expect care in return. Clarity about non-negotiables reduces passive aggression and preserves energy for attraction rather than argument. Polarity also needs play. Teasing, flirting, and light competition in safe spaces keep dopamine high. Humor releases pressure and reminds both parties why they were drawn together in the first place. Playfulness rebuilds intimacy after conflict faster than heavy-duty conversations. Negotiation preserves difference without resentment. Agree on who handles what and revisit as life shifts. Clear expectations minimize surprise and maximize appreciation. When each person knows their contributions are noticed, pride and sexual interest grow. Protection of romantic space is intentional. Say no to projects that hollow your time for connection. Prioritize dates, intimacy, and uninterrupted conversation. People often trade passion for productivity and then wonder where the spark went. That bargain is reversible if you choose differently. Finally, vulnerability is the amplifier. Sharing fear, desire, and imperfection invites reciprocal risk. That exchange deepens attachment and intensifies attraction. Polarity isn't about hiding need. It's about expressing it in a way that invites care rather than competition. Commit to difference, cultivate curiosity, and watch desire renew itself constantly. Practice gratitude daily, name small wins, repair quickly after fights, apologize with clarity, rebuild trust through consistent acts. Growth requires humility and curiosity. When partners invest in attraction as much as ambition, relationships move from functional to fiercely alive intentionally. Start by choosing clarity over performance. Say aloud what you want and what you will not compromise. Commitment begins with honest bookkeeping of time and priorities. Create simple, repeatable rituals that protect couple time and make connection non-negotiable. Decide who handles which practical tasks and free each other from endless negotiation. Make agreements small and revisitable so they survive stress. Practice accepting help as a skill, not a failure. Letting someone contribute is an invitation to belong, not a demotion. Offer appreciation for small acts so gratitude becomes the currency. Schedule undisturbed conversations where listening is the only goal. Use those meetings to surface needs before they calcify into resentment. Reject the scoreboard mentality in daily interactions. Stop tallying who did more and start tracking how often you showed up. Teach children that cooperation beats competition at home. Model asking for support and giving it freely. Protect romantic space from work and noise. Turn off devices for shared meals and bedtime rituals. Prioritize physical touch and undistracted eye contact to rebuild intimacy. Practice playful teasing to keep attraction alive without cruelty. Introduce mystery by cultivating separate hobbies and friendships. Maintain a life outside the relationship so you remain interesting. Build optionality with portable skills and social networks to allow later pivots. Make transparency about future plans part of regular check-ins. Discuss children, finances, and career moves before pressure accumulates. Recognize that compromises are strategic, not capitulations. Accept trade-offs consciously and avoid passive drifting into regret. Use apologies to repair quickly and prevent scorekeeping after fights. Apologize plainly, fix what you can, and move on without re-arguing the past. Reward vulnerability by responding with curiosity, not correction. Create a culture of curiosity rather than a habit of judgment. Name differences as strengths and use them deliberately. Switch leadership depending on domain instead of competing for permanent control. Celebrate when your partner succeeds instead of framing it as your failure. Keep sexual chemistry intentional. Date each other even when life demands efficiency. Design micro-rituals that cue desire. Notes, brief surprises, plan dates. Protect time for physical intimacy as you would for a career meeting. Maintain standards without weaponizing independence as a test. Let standards guide choices, not punishments. Train emotional muscles. Listen longer, speak shorter, act steadier. Give credit publicly and apologize privately to preserve dignity. Make gratitude visible in small daily practices. Measure success by shared satisfaction, not public metrics. Guard against narratives that equate dominance with worth. Choose collaboration over rivalry and watch power convert into partnership. Build a future with mutual respect, deliberate boundaries, and playful devotion. Hold weekly reviews of goals and feelings to catch drift early. Protect each other's reputations and show up for public challenges together. Be willing to pivot when priorities change and do it with respect. Remember that love is built by small consistent acts, not grand declarations alone. Stay curious, stay humble, stay loyal. If you want depth, clarity, and more power in your daily mindset, make sure you subscribe,